Hello, everybody. Wanted to send out a video today just to make a little positivity and send it out there. I know maybe a lot of us are spending quite a bit more time at home and with the people that we love the most, or maybe you're just spending a lot of time with yourself and maybe you're finding out you don't like you so much. So maybe you need to have a little positivity, maybe get a perspective on things that's going to kind of lift you instead of hold you down. Lots of fear out there today. I promote this right here: love, practice it. You get better at what you practice. So practice makes progress. I know that looks pitiful back there, but it's still true. So um, that's what we want to do. So I want to make a video today. I know one of the most important relationships you're going to be in is your marriage, and I haven't done one of these in a long time, which basically I'm just reading a book. You can get this Love Dare book. These aren't my thoughts, but they're true, and so I can just send it out there on the web, and hopefully this is going to be something that touches at least one person. If it's one person, that's plenty, in a positive way, to turn you up, to give you hope, to give you a perspective that's going to maybe break you out of some of the fear you might be in, some of the struggle you might be in. So just wanted to read. This is day 12. I've done day 1 through 11 in the past, but I'm going to just start where I left off. Today, day 12 is about love lets the other win. It's based off Philippians 2:4. Do not merely look out for your own personal interests, but also for the interests of others. Now, whether you like the Bible or not, which I know there's a whole lot of people in the world that don't, you can't argue with that. Just put others in front of yourself. That's a powerful thing to do. Of course, I believe in the Bible, so it's easy for me. But even if you don't, that's just some good advice just across the board. This is what it says. If you were asked to name 3 areas where you and your spouse disagree, you'd likely be able to do it without thinking very hard. You might even be able to produce a top 10 list if given a few more minutes. And sadly, unless someone at your house starts doing some giving in, these same issues are going to keep popping up between you and your mate. Sadly, stubbornness comes as a standard feature on both husband and wife models. Defending your rights and opinions is a foundational part of your nature and makeup. It's detrimental, though, inside a marriage relationship, and it steals away time and productivity. It can also cause great frustration for both of you. Granted, being stubborn is not always bad. Some things are worth standing up for and protecting. Our priorities, our morals, obedience to God should be guarded with great effort, but too often we debate over piddling things like the color of wall paint or the choice of restaurants. Other times, of course, the stakes are much higher. One of you would like more children, the other doesn't. One of you wants to vacation with your extended family, the other doesn't. One of you prefers homeschooling your kids, and the other doesn't. One of you thinks it's time for marriage counseling or to get more involved in a church, while the other doesn't. Though these issues may not crop up every day, they keep resurfacing and don't really go away. You never seem to get any closer to a resolution or compromise. The heels just keep digging in. It's like driving with the parking brake on. There's only one way to get beyond stalemates such as these, and that's by finding a word that's the opposite of stubbornness, a word we first met while discussing kindness. That word is willing. It's an attitude and spirit of cooperation that should permeate our conversations. It's like a palm tree by the ocean that endures the greatest winds because it knows how to gracefully bend. And the one best example of it is Jesus Christ, as described in Philippians 2:5 through 11. Follow the progression of his selfless love. As God, he had every right to refuse becoming a man, yet he yielded and did, because he was willing. He had the right to be served by all mankind, but came to serve us instead. He had the right to live in peace and safety, but willingly laid down his life for our sins. He was even willing to endure the grueling torture of the cross. He loved, cooperated, and was willing to do his Father's will instead of his own. In light of this amazing testimony, the Bible applies to us a one-sentence summary statement. Have this attitude in yourselves, which was also in Christ Jesus. the attitude of willingness, flexibility, and humble submission. It means laying down for the good of others what you have the right to claim for yourself. All it takes for your present arguments to continue is for both of you to stay entrenched and unbending. But the very moment one of you says, I'm willing to go your way on this one, the argument will be over. And though the follow-through may cost you a few moments of pride and discomfort, you have made a loving, lasting investment in your marriage. Yes, but then I'll look foolish. I'll lose the fight. I'll lose control. Well, you've already looked foolish. If you've been bullheaded and refused to listen, you've already lost the fight by making this issue more important than your marriage and your spouse's sense of worth. You may have already lost emotional control by saying things that got personal and hurt your mate. The wise and loving thing to do is to start approaching your disagreements with a willingness to not always insist on your own way. That's not to say your mate's necessarily right or being wise about a matter, but you're choosing to give strong consideration to their preference as a way of valuing them. In fact, your willingness to reconsider may cause them to loosen their resistance to you and reconsider as well. Love's best advice from the Bible, which says, the wisdom that's from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield. Instead of treating your wife or husband like an enemy or someone to be guarded against, start by treating them as your closest, most honored friend. Give their words full weight. No, you won't always see eye to eye. You're not supposed to be carbon copies of each other. If you were, one of you would be unnecessary. Two people who always share the same opinions and perspectives won't have any balance or flavor to enhance the relationship. Rather, your differences are for listening to and learning from. Are you willing to bend to demonstrate love to your spouse? Or are you refusing to give in because of pride? If it doesn't matter in the long run, especially in eternity, then giving up your rights will be a loving way to bring delight and honor to the one you love. It will likely be good for you and for your marriage. Surrendering a battle may actually be the best way to greater victory. So today's love dare is this. Demonstrate love by willingly choosing to give in to an area of disagreement between you and your spouse. Tell them you're putting their preference first. Well, that's pretty good advice. Although this isn't a fix-all, many times in a marriage, one of us is always giving in, and the other one is the one that needs to really work on this. So understand it's a little more complicated, but certainly to have an attitude and a heart of humility, which means I don't know everything, and I'm ready to see it from their perspective and ready to give in where I can. And again, I would stress especially when you're in a situation where maybe you give in all the time and the other person doesn't at all, then you've definitely got to have some guidelines, some morals, and some standards that you say are most important for the integrity of a real committed marriage that is going to work and that's going to last. So it does take some discernment. However, that's some really good advice, to have the attitude of Christ, just to lay down your life for others. I truly believe that a human being is the greatest resource on planet Earth. I mean, there isn't any other resource that has greater potential to create, to bring change, to make life better than the human being. On the same hand, though, man, it's the human being that, if it goes south, can bring the most pain to the earth. And so in this time where we have an opportunity to kind of put important things first, a lot of times we push the important things off to the side. We do those urgent things that are flashing up in our face and screaming at us to give us their attention in this clickbait world that we live in. And we're doing a bunch of urgent things that really don't pan out. They don't really matter. And we leave those important things off to the side. And we suffer for that in the long haul. It would be likened to, it's not an exact science to know what to do with your money. You can't just save it and put it in a bank. That's maybe better than nothing, but it's not earning anything in the bank. So whether you put it in the stock market or you put it in, some real estate, or you put it, there's a plethora of different things you can do with your money. But when you do the wise thing with your money, like the stock market, over the long haul, if you put it in there, it's going to be accruing interest, and it's going to get into compounded interest. And that's what wisdom is, that you put your excess, and you put the first fruits in places where it's going to multiply. And so for you yourself, and for me, being the greatest resource on planet Earth, to invest in yourself and to invest in those relationships that you have that are most important to you. The deathbed literature says that those people who know they're about to go, they're not thinking about, I wish I would have, done this, or I wish I would have done that. They're thinking more along the lines of the time and investment that they made in those people that mean the most to them. And again, those are some of those important things that get pushed off to the side. So all of a sudden, we got a lot of time to think about the resource that you are, the resource that your husband or wife is, the resource that your children are, potential good that they can bring to the earth today and tomorrow. And so it's worth putting some time and effort and some thought into becoming a better person, to practice choosing love, and to learn what it is to lay your life down for somebody else, so that you're more fulfilled and you get that connection that all of us are created to want and need. I mean, we need connection with people, and true love is how you get that connection. So hope this is a encouraging word for you today. And I've had fun doing it. I'm going to do my best to practice it myself. So have a great day. Bye-bye.